Knowing God is personal. It is relative. Everybody has their own experience. There is the fool who says that there is no God. The Bible calls them a fool not because they are dumb, but because they are ignorant. Psalms 14 verse 1, it says, "The fool says in his heart, there is no God." Romans 1 verse 20, "For ever since the world was created, people have seen the earth and sky. Through everything God made, they can clearly see His invisible qualities, His eternal power and divine nature, so they have no excuse for not knowing God." I watched this video where the speaker talks about the different types of knowledge. It is quite interesting. Let's listen in.
We have three types of knowledge today. Mathematical, okay? 2 plus 2 equals 4. That is called rational, logical knowledge. Then you have scientific knowledge. Scientific knowledge is where you have a hypothesis, you carry out an experiment to see if it's true or false. And then you have personal knowledge. Each of those knowledge is equally valid. What a lot of people do is they take what is personal and they try and define it mathematically or scientifically. Okay, let me illustrate that for you. If we take something like a kiss, would you agree with me that a kiss is personal? Can you define a kiss mathematically? No, you can't. Can you define a kiss scientifically? Yes, you can. Here is a definition of a kiss scientifically. It is the approach of two pairs of lips with a reciprocal transmission of microbes and carbon dioxide. Okay, now just go out on a nice romantic meal, with your date, and then during the meal say, "Shall we draw our lips together and exchange microbes and carbon dioxide?" Trust me, it's not gonna do it. It's not gonna do it. When you take something personal and try and define it mathematically or scientifically, you get a load of nonsense. God is personal. You do not prove God, you experience God.
From this video, God is personal. You experience God. Every Christian's journey of salvation is unique. All our experiences are different. Job 36 verse 22, it says, "Remember how great is God's power. He is the greatest teacher of all." We have been given free will. A Christian's growth and maturity are dependent on how they submit to the training and teaching of God. As such, a person can impede their own growth. It is not a surprise that some Christians remain in the infant stage and don't grow. They are not ready for solid food and remain fed by milk. 1 Corinthians chapter 3 verse 2, it says, "I gave you milk, not solid food, for you are not ready for it. Indeed, you are still not ready." Salvation is like a garden that needs to be tilled and attended to. There's laboring involved. You have to labor by reading the scriptures, meditating, obeying, praying, and fasting. The results and fruits of every person's salvation are unique. The variance is attributed to their labor and diligence. Philippians chapter 2 verse 12 says, "Work hard to show the results of your salvation, obeying God with deep reverence and fear." Salvation is also called a walk of faith because the just shall live by faith. Galatians chapter 2 verse 20 says, "I have been crucified with Christ and I no longer live, but Christ lives in me. The life I now live in the body, I live by faith in the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself for me." And faith without works is dead. Grace has been availed to empower us to live godly lives. My friend and I used to make New Year resolutions, and one time we shared that we wanted to have an encounter with God. Recently, while listening to Joshua Selman, I heard him say that an encounter is a reward, and for sure it is. Hebrews chapter 11 verse 6 says, "But without faith it is impossible to please him. For he who comes to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of those who diligently seek him." Some Christians are casual about their walk with God, yet they expect God to be serious with them. How can that be? James chapter 4 verse 7 to 8 says, "Therefore submit to God. Resist the devil and he will flee from you. Draw near to God and he will draw near to you." Labor for your salvation. Be intentional and diligent about your walk of faith. Remain connected to Christ and keep in step with the Holy Spirit. Only by doing so will you bear much fruit.